Trump refuses to apologize for racist clip of Obama's. Make our Epstein testimony public. Iran nods to more nuclear talks, sets red lines. Washington Post CEO out after sweeping job cuts. U.S. President Donald Trump has refused to apologize after a controversial video posted on his social media account depicted former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as monkeys. The video sparked widespread backlash across the United States, with critics from both political parties calling it racist. Trump said he did not make a mistake, but added that he condemns the imagery. The White House initially dismissed the criticism as, quote, fake outrage, but later said a staff member had posted the video in error and removed it about 12 hours later. Trump explained that he only watched the beginning of the video and was unaware of the offensive content. He also stood by the video's broader claims about election fraud. Democrats labeled the post, quote, vile, while at least one senior Republican senator described it as clearly racist, intensifying the political controversy surrounding the incident. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton are urging that their testimony about ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein be held in public, saying it would prevent Republicans from politicizing the investigation. The couple has been ordered to appear for closed-door depositions before the House Oversight Committee, which is examining Epstein's connections to powerful figures and how his crimes were handled. Hillary Clinton is scheduled to testify on February 26th, followed by Bill Clinton on February 27th. Republicans had earlier threatened to hold them in contempt if they refused to appear. Bill Clinton argued that a private deposition would be like a quote for an open hearing, saying, let's stop the games and do this the right way. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says he hopes nuclear talks with the United States will resume soon, calling the recent negotiations in Oman a good start, but warning that trust will take time. Araghchi stressed that Iran's missile program is never negotiable, describing it as a matter of national defense. He also warned that Tehran would target U.S. bases in the region if Iran were attacked. Despite the tensions, Araghchi said the indirect talks created a rare moment when delegates had the opportunity to shake hands. He reaffirmed that uranium enrichment is Iran's inalienable right, but added that Tehran is ready to reach an agreement that reassures the international community. U.S. President Donald Trump also described the talks as very good and promised another round next week. However, Washington has moved ahead with new tariffs on countries trading with Iran and imposed fresh sanctions targeting shipping networks linked to Iranian oil exports. The United States wants future negotiations to cover Iran's ballistic missile program and its support for regional militant groups, an expansion Tehran has repeatedly rejected, insisting the discussions remain limited to nuclear issues. The talks come amid a major U.S. military buildup in the region and mark the first negotiations since last year's collapse of diplomacy following an Israeli bombing campaign and a brief war that included U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites. The Washington Post announced that CEO and publisher Will Lewis is stepping down immediately, just days after the newspaper carried out major job cuts that sparked backlash from readers and staff. Lewis, who led the paper for 2 years, said it was the right time to step aside. He will be replaced by Jeff D'Onofrio, the Post's chief financial officer and former Tumblr CEO. The leadership change follows sweeping layoffs affecting roughly 300 journalists, nearly half of the newsroom, with major reductions in international, local, sports, and graphics teams. The paper also suspended its daily podcast, while protesters gathered outside headquarters to condemn the cuts. Although the wider U.S. newspaper industry is struggling with falling revenue and competition from social media, critics say the Post's challenges were worsened by management decisions and alleged editorial interference from owner Jeff Bezos. Bezos faced criticism after blocking an endorsement of Democratic candidate Kamala Harris before the 2024 election, a move many believed cost the paper about 250,000 digital subscribers and contributed to losses nearing $100 million last year. Media observers warn that the shrinking newsroom could weaken the press's ability to hold those in power accountable, with a former executive editor calling the layoffs one of the darkest days in the paper's history.